We often speak of the dead as those who sleep, who rest, who lie in stillness beneath the earth or within the tomb. Our language betrays our ignorance, our smallness of vision, and perhaps even our fear. Sleep, we say, perhaps because it seems more bearable than what we do not understand. But what if it is not sleep at all? What if, contrary to all appearances, it is the living who slumber and the dead who have awakened? The irony is sharp and terrible. We, the ones who believe ourselves awake, are in fact stumbling through a shadowy dream. And they, the ones we mourn and bury, have opened their eyes to the blinding brightness of a dawn we cannot yet imagine. Let us not pretend that we know what death is. We do not. We know only its edges, its effects, the empty chair, the silenced voice, the cool hand that will not stir. We speak as if we are the judges of reality, as if what we cannot measure must not exist. But we are infants peering through the keyhole of a locked door, thinking the hallway is all there is, because we cannot yet enter the great chamber beyond. The dead, on the other hand, have crossed the threshold. They have seen the true scale of things. They are no longer distracted by the rustling of leaves and the flickering of candlelight. They stand beneath the full sun. Think of this: when we say that someone has passed away, we often mean that they have diminished, faded, or disappeared. But what if the opposite is true? What if they have passed into something, into glory, into weight, into substance? We are the ones clinging to shadows, phantoms of meaning, hollow pleasures and vanishing time. We are the ones whose hearts are dulled by noise and worry, whose eyes are misted by illusion. The dead, if they are in the light of God, are not less alive than we, but infinitely more so. They are not wisps of memory drifting in the ether, but pillars of eternal being. We should not speak of them with pity. If anything, it is they who might pity us. Consider the moment of their passing. We gather at bedsides, we hold hands, we weep and whisper, and then they are gone. The breath stops, the body grows still, but this is only the visible surface, like the ripple that remains after a great ship has slipped beneath the horizon. What if, in that moment, the dead are suddenly more themselves than they have ever been? What if the soul, long confined within the cage of frail flesh, bursts into its true form and stretches into dimensions we cannot yet comprehend? What if it is we who are confined, chained by decay, distracted by vanity, dulled by appetite, and they who have been set free? And if they are awake, then what do they see? Not the crude facades of stone and sky, but the essence behind them. Not the petty arguments and the fleeting triumphs, but the grand tapestry that holds all stories together. Perhaps they see time as it truly is, one vast living whole, not chopped into minutes and years, but blazing with eternal now. Perhaps they see us, not as isolated creatures fending off the dark, but as beings moving. We think ourselves awake because we are surrounded by motion and noise, but motion can be blind and noise can be hollow. To be awake is to see what is true, to know who we are, to love what is good, and in this sense how few among us are truly awake. The dead, if they have gone to glory, have already shaken off the dust of illusion. They have left the cave and stood in the light. They are not dreaming. We are the dead are not gone. They have simply passed into a greater reality. That is a truth our hearts sometimes know before our minds will dare to admit it. We stand at the graveside and speak in hushed tones, not only out of reverence or grief, but because part of us knows we are in the presence of something larger than death. Not absence, but presence magnified. Not ending, but crossing. We do not say goodbye to the dead because they vanish. We say goodbye because we cannot follow. Not yet. They are not less real now. They are, if anything, more real than we are, having stepped through the veil and into the bright country that lies beyond the reach of clocks and decay. We who remain live within limits so tight we've come to believe they are the shape of all reality. We measure, categorize, and define as if our rules are binding on the cosmos, but the truth is far stranger and far grander than that. Our world, dense as it feels, is but the threshold, a kind of prelude, or a page in a book whose story does not begin until the last line of this one has ended. We do not live in the whole of the house. We dwell in the antechamber, with its filtered light and muffled sound. The dead, however, have walked through the door we only lean against in sleep. They have entered the true hall, and their eyes are filled not with shadow and suggestion, but with substance and splendor. This idea that there is more beyond has never been the invention of wishful thinkers, but rather the deep intuition of humanity's soul, echoing across cultures and centuries. The philosophers called it the form of the good, The mystics called it the beatific vision, and the poets tried in vain to name it at all. But it is there, it has always been there, and the dead are there now. Not adrift in some misty realm of phantoms and echoes, but held firmly in the hand of a greater reality, one so solid that if we glimpsed it for a single moment, it would unmake all our assumptions. Our world would seem paper thin, a fragile copy of the real thing that was always waiting behind it. The mistake we often make is assuming that death leads to less consciousness, less presence, less being. But what if death is a door not into subtraction but addition, not into a faded continuation but into vivid completion? To borrow a metaphor, imagine two lovers separated by a wall of glass. They see each other's shapes and gestures, but not the full color of their faces. They hear muffled words, but not the music of the voice. Then one of them steps through the door, the other remains. To the one left behind it may feel like loss, but to the one who has passed through, it is the beginning of seeing truly. So it is with us and the dead. We are still peering through dim panes. They are standing face to face. If we could know what they know now, it would not be fear but awe that would grip us. Awe not only at the majesty of where they are, but at the fact that they have arrived, at last, where they were always meant to go. That they are not less themselves now, but more themselves than they have ever been. We say someone has passed away as if they faded into some dissolving mist, but in truth they have passed into the burning heart of reality. The words we use betray our confusion. They have not fallen into silence, but into the music of eternity. They have not dissolved. They have arrived. They are not gone. They are home. This is why grief, though heavy, is not despair. We grieve because we have loved, and love always hurts when it is separated. But the pain of separation is not the mark of meaninglessness. It is the mark that something mattered so deeply it leaves a wound when it departs. The wound itself is a testimony to the enduring truth of the connection. The dead are not severed from us completely. The separation is real, but it is not final. It is not annihilation. It is transition. And while they have crossed over and we have not, we are all still within the same story. The same author writes our lives and the same end draws near. We live as if the world is the full book, when in fact it is only the prologue. The true narrative has not yet unfolded for us. But the dead, those who have died in the light, have turned the page. And though we cannot yet read what they see, the binding has not been broken. We are held within the same plot line, each moment woven together by a hand that does not forget. What they have entered is not a dream, nor a void, but the final country, the kingdom that lies behind the veil, where no rust corrodes, no thief steals, no sorrow endures without redemption. Their reality is not bent by decay or blurred by doubt. It is whole, it is true. And perhaps this is the real terror and the real comfort, that the dead have not disappeared at all. They are not behind us, but ahead. They have not ceased to be, but begun to be as they were always meant to be. They are not phantoms drifting through some echoing world. We are the phantoms, not yet fully formed. They are the ones who are solid, who are real, whose feet now walk the golden floor of the everlasting hills, while we still move through twilight and mist, still tracing shadows on the cave wall and calling them truth. The dead now see clearly what we only glimpse through veils. All our days we peer through the fog of a half-lit world, struggling to discern meaning from the scattered fragments of joy and sorrow that fall at our feet. We are the ones looking through the glass darkly, fumbling after truth as though it were a flame flickering just out of reach. But the dead have had the veil lifted. They have looked into the face of reality itself, stripped of pretense, unmasked and unshaken. They no longer guess, they no longer debate, they see. Imagine the clarity of such vision, the staggering simplicity of truth, once it stands in front of you whole and unhidden. Here on this. And yet for those who have loved what is true in life, even in fragments, even in stumbling affection, that meeting is not terror but joy. It is the recognition of a face long dreamed of but never fully seen. It is the fulfillment of longing, the end of egg. We are like children trying to construct cathedrals from driftwood, half aware that we were made for something more, but always falling short of it. We wake, we work, we sleep, and we call. They are, even now, engaged, not merely in existence, but in purpose so rich, so seamless, that we could scarcely bear the sight of it without falling to our knees. The dead are becoming what they were always. Imagine what it means to no longer carry shame, to no longer hide behind the fractured identities built from childhood wounds and adult failures. Imagine what it is to be known without fear and to know oneself without confusion. The dead in glory are not haunted